Hello and welcome to Who Are You? This is the Babylon 5 Watchcast, hosted by two former strangers, now friends, who've gotten to know each other, while rewatching a favorite show from their childhood, Babylon 5. I'm Xhafer,
And I'm Laura.
and we are in Crusade still. We're crusading through Crusade.
Yeah. Episode 3 for us, right?
Episode 3 for us.
Yeah. It's not 3 for the show necessarily.
The episode we're watching today is Appearances and Other Deceits. I believe it was the last episode produced and the 8th episode in DVD order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's our episode 3. I think because of uniform continuity, but there's a couple other things. But there's also shit in this episode that doesn't make sense. So we'll talk about it, though.
But this was JMS's preferred order, right?
Yes.
So this would have been number 3. Interesting.
Yeah.
Could have been, I suppose.
I mean, we'll talk about it at the end, but I like it better than next episode.
Oh, interesting. Controversial take.
I don't think, is it? I don't know. It's an okay episode. Did you catch who directed this one?
I did not. But wait, wasn't one of these Stephen First, maybe?
This is Stephen First, yes.
Okay, it was this one. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I watched him in a chunk of 2, listener, so I did not remember details from one or the other.
Same. Yeah. So we were originally going to do some recasting today and some alignment next week.
I don't think I'm prepared.
Yeah. I don't think I could be prepared.
Yeah.
I don't think we spent enough time with these characters. Especially this show is very siloed in its character usage. It's like, okay, pick 3 out of the main cast and that's who you're getting this episode. Every episode kind of feels like that. You get Gideon and then you'll get the 3 characters who came in this week and everyone else is a fucking ghost.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Lockley is in the main credits and we haven't seen her.
That's true. And we've at this point watched 4 episodes and we haven't seen Lockley yet. Yeah.
A third of the episodes we've watched of this show, and we have not seen Lockley, who's in the title credits.
What a crime. And I found myself in the 4th episode, like asking my husband, wait, what is the name of this woman? Like referring to the doctor? Because I haven't seen her enough. Yeah, I haven't seen her enough. We haven't talked to her enough. Like, we haven't made her interesting enough in those conversations that I remember who she is at all.
I had to look it up.
Yeah, we did too. And then I felt embarrassed because I actually know someone by this name.
Are they also a doctor?
They are not a doctor, yeah.
Oh. Well, you get a little bit of a pass then.
Yeah.
We were originally going to do alignments and recasting twice over Crusade each and break up the cast. Yeah, we'll just do it once towards the back end, I think, is what the plan will be. And if we still feel like we don't know the characters well enough after 8 or 9 episodes, then fuck it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll do something else. We'll do a different song and dance.
Yeah. I packed up all my Babylon 5 cards today.
Oh, why'd you pack them all up?
Well, you just
put them away.
Yeah, I just put them away.
From using them for this show? Okay.
Well, it's like I was keeping them along with a bunch of old cards from other card games in a giant, like 5 siloed card box storage thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've been super into Star Wars Unlimited, which is a new card game from Fantasy Flight Games that the second set released yesterday as of recording.
Oh.
And I have been super into this game. Like, how many boxes do you think I bought yesterday?
Uh-oh.
Because it's a number bigger than 5 and less than 10. So I've spent a lot of the last 24 hours opening packs and organizing all of those cards, and the card storage I was using for the first set that had come out a couple months ago was now insufficient. So I had to find something else. And I remembered that I had this thing with all my Babylon 5 cards and a bunch of other card games in it. And so I packaged all of those up put them in their own little separate boxes, nice and organized, and then I put them on a high shelf in my basement where they will probably just live.
Yeah.
Those cards will probably not get touched for a long time, I imagine.
You're not just going to sit around and play the Babylon 5 game?
If I knew how.
Yeah, no kidding. Looks complicated.
I did find a rule book, though.
Oh, the Psychor rule book. Look at that.
How many pages is this fucking thing? 72.
Oof.
And it's looking like this is a lot of rules. Like, of these 72, it's looking like 3 are bullshit at the end, 8 are a glossary, and 2 are a index and prologue. So a solid 65, 66 pages of rules, give or take, to be able to play a game.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nah, brah.
That's a lot. Yeah.
My Star Wars, like 8. And to be honest, you don't even need them all. But yeah, so that's what that's the impetus for packing up those cards was all of my new Star Wars cards that I'm deeply in love with this game. It's very well made. Really liking it.
Good. Not 65 pages of rules.
No, actually the game plays better than any other collectible card game I've ever touched.
Nice.
Any complaint I've ever made about a game like Magic is addressed either in the rules or the systems of the game.
Nice.
It's been a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you're a CCG nerd, Star Wars Unlimited, if you were on the fence, it's great. The second set's fun. It just dropped. There's a ton of stuff to do with it. You can play for free on forcetable.net, and you can get on the Discord and geek out about that shit with me, and I will talk about it all day.
Get your very own Xhafer for a little bit.
Right. You just say something and be like, oh,
I'm here.
Talk about it. Which, hey, we've only got a couple more of these until it's in person.
Yeah,
While
I know.
we're just vamping because we know that we're going to cover this episode in 10 minutes. So.
Oh, no. I have thoughts about this episode, actually, for once.
Okay. Well, why don't we save our talk about our pending trip, which we did a couple weeks ago, but it's very real right now.
Yeah, it's becoming imminent. Less than a month.
It is less than 2 weeks. Or no.
No, not quite. Less than 3,
it's
though.
like it's like 15 or 16 days.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that next week.
Okay, well, let's talk an episode first.
Yeah. We've got Crusade, Episode 8, Appearances, and Other Deceits. We open on... I couldn't get over how long this alien's fingers were.
Yeah, this is some great costuming, right?
Just long, creepy fingers. What is it about
mean,
super long fingers that are so creepy?
It's unsettling, yeah.
Is it Uncanny Valley stuff, you think?
Yeah, because, like, I know E.T. is supposed to actually be, like, cute, and we're all supposed to like E.T. because he's a good little alien boy.
Yeah.
But I was very creeped out by E.T. when I was small. Like, I did not think he was cool. And he has the creepy fingers. He has the long, creepy, weird fingers.
Long, creepy, glowy fingers. Fingers shouldn't glow.
He's a creepy puppet. Puppets
He
are
was a creepy
creepier
puppet.
than CGI, too.
I never liked E.T. as a kid.
Yeah. My son really did, though.
Yeah.
What a weirdo.
I also didn't like the Goonies.
I never saw the Goonies. I know.
Man,
Don't say it.
there are so many people mad at us right now.
I know. We're just put out our worst takes. But you know
Right.
what? This is a Crusade episode, so no one's going to listen.
It's true.
We could just say all the worst things.
Right.
Yeah, creepy alien fingers, and he's in this like darkly lit hallway of a weird alien ship, and just watching the Excalibur on some kind of little computer window.
Mm-hmm. We cut over to the bridge of the Excalibur where we've got 2 suits from Earthdome doing a ride along.
Yeah, Gideon just hates this. He's doing the classic sci-fi captain personal log bitching about politicians. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is great because it's Mr. Wells. He's back.
We remember Mr. Wells.
And of course, as previously mentioned, this is John Vickery, who is also Naroon.
Yeah, he's great.
He
One of the great
is
voices.
Great. Yeah. Oh, for sure. So it's great to get him back. And then he's with Wayne Wilderson, who has a laundry list of credits as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're supposed to hate these guys.
Right? But you don't, do you?
You don't. No, they're so fun.
I love it. I told Aaron, like, at first, the first scene with Kevin, I was like, whatever. Kevin is the not John Vickery gentleman. And Gary Cole has a real Office Space energy about him when he speaks to Kevin. Like, just love it. It's delicious. And then every other scene with Kevin, I was just like, you know what? I need more Kevin. This show should have left him on there as like a foil to Gideon to come in and like poke him in the ribs when something's not going well. I just needed that.
It's so good. It's the best part of this episode.
Yep. Oh, but Mr. Wells, we need to remind everyone why we saw him in Babylon 5 before. Wasn't he spinning shit for the Night Watch? Wasn't that his whole game?
I think, yeah, he was definitely a spin guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was an ISN. Yeah, I think he was Night Watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was that governmental thing. Because he says something about he knows regime changes or something very slyly. And I was like, yeah, you were a Night Watch bro and you're still around, huh?
The Ministry of Peace.
Yes, those fuckwads.
Yeah, he worked for Frederick Lance, who was the guy who was like forming Night Watch. Mm-hmm. So Gideon and Matheson ID the new ship here. It is a first contact scenario. Everyone on that ship is dead except one. I do not understand why they fuck with this ship. I get so mad at like the next 10 minutes because I see a dead ship with one survivor and I'm all like, oh, bro, plague, sorry. Like, virus, like something destroyed your fucking ship. And I want nothing to do with it.
Space is disease and danger wrapped in darkness and silence.
I don't know if that makes me like a bad dude Star Trek captain.
You're just Todd Stashwick, blanking on his name.
I'm thinking Lorca, but that's from Discovery Season 1. He was actually a bad dude starship captain.
Yeah, you're a real Liam Shaw.
Yeah. You know what? Worse comparisons could be made. It's just like, why would you fuck with this? Right? And then when they decide to fuck with it, the way they go about fucking with it also just drives me mad. Right?
Well, it wouldn't be unheard of for this to be disease, right? Like, we're out here crusading in the Excalibur.
Because of the disease.
Because of disease. Like, yeah, they should probably be a little more cognizant of these things as they're approaching anything.
And, I mean, spoilers for next episode as well, but same shit. Like, oh, we found a thing that killed everyone? Well, maybe it's like the thing that's gonna kill everyone back home, so we should investigate. And it's all like, well, they clearly didn't solve for the fucking problem, y'all. You need to be finding worlds that are still around and asking them if they've had any life-threatening Drock plagues that they've solved for.
Sure. Like, if you just roll up on the one that's just all empty and Drock plagued, like, what are you getting out of that you can't really get at home, you know?
We have Drock plague at home.
That needs to be a Crusade shirt.
just the meme with Gideon's face over the dad in the car.
Yeah.
Can we go to Drock plague?
My favorite stuff about this is, so, as we're rolling up on this ship, Kevin is just verklempt in the background about the colors of the ship behind him. Just so upset. Kevin needs more pastels. I think that's what's wrong here.
Yeah. It's too RGB, right?
Yeah.
This is a serious mission. I don't care about your light up keyboards. Fucking nerds.
Yeah. Agree. So we get the theme. We get back from theme and we hop in EVA suits. This is what Xhafer was referring to when he was like, the way they go about this is absolutely bonkers.
This is so fucking dumb. So one, we get a size of this ship, right?
It's big.
This ship is like at least like it's not squares, it's a bunch of circles, but it seems to be taking up the space of like a grid of 4x4 Excaliburs, which is a 2.5 mile ship, which would mean that this is a 12 by 12 mile ship without knowing how tall it is.
Yeah, sure.
This thing is fucking huge.
And we're just going to hop in suits and like swim over.
Right? Instead of fucking Star Furies. You've got Star Furies. We've seen them. It's in the fucking theme song.
We
Launch
know they've
some
got
fucking
shuttles
Star Furies.
too. Like, if you're not worried about like guns and stuff, hop in some people movers. Like,
right?
You have them. You went to a planet. We saw that. Why do we need suits?
Are you going to tell me that they don't have any like repair vehicles for the outside of their ship on their long distance explorer vessel? Nothing that can get out and fix a hole patch or something? Come on.
Yeah. They need robots. You should be sending robots over.
Right. This is so dumb. We find out a bunch of stuff, though. We see that the inside of the ship blew up. It looks like a lot of the crew killed each other.
Yeah, they were like fighting each other. We see the floating CGI corpses just like with their hands around each other's neck and stuff.
That doesn't make sense in the context of the plot.
I mean, I wrote it off as like some of them got taken over by the personalities, but some of them didn't.
All they have to do is touch someone and they take
you
them
don't want to
over.
wring each other's necks in that instance, right?
The second you touch them, you become them and you stop fighting.
Okay.
Right?
That is a solid point.
The only thing that would make sense for this for me, and this is me filling in a ton of blanks for a show and doing a bunch of mental legwork to make it okay. So we're just going to fucking rip open this plot right now.
Sure.
If you haven't watched this episode, listener, this is not going to be chronological. I'm sorry. So we find out that these aliens are like many minds that are like spreading, right? Mm-hmm. The implication is that there are a number of them that are distinct beings and you can inhabit the same body at the same time, which is why when they found the one, it was like the infinite mirror and why all the dudes were reaching for the one dude to like pass their consciousnesses up to be able to survive in the one body. So hypothetically, if that's the case and they're all actually individuals who sometimes hive mind, there might be a limited number of them.
Right.
And they only had, like several hundred or something. Now, that doesn't work with some of the stuff fucking Wells says later in the episode about taking over whole planets and colonizing and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just fucking dumb. It seems like if you had just sat back for 30 seconds and looked at how this works, this is not the scene you would find. And it doesn't impact the plot at all. Seeing them fighting each other, they're like, oh, maybe it's a mutiny. Well, that doesn't make sense. And then they just move on. It's there for a line that has no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
Yeah. And we could have saved the CGI budget here. Put it somewhere else, right?
Right.
Oh, well. You could have put spears in their hands. Like, you could stab somebody from a distance. That seems fun.
I mean, that's the zombie plan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay 8 feet away from me, please.
Stabby.
That's what they're there for. So anyways, they pull this lone survivor into med lab.
Yeah, of course.
To try and save them. And they like start dying very rapidly, even though they were totally stable, to get someone to run in. So that way we see the like special effects of consciousness transference.
Yeah. Yeah, Janie. Janie is just
Mm-hmm.
too empathetic. She's presumably a nurse or maybe another doctor in med lab.
Mm-hmm.
Runs into the chamber, like alien atmosphere chamber or whatever, and starts
Mm-hmm.
trying to defib this alien. Which another thing, I was like, do we know that's gonna work? Do we know that's not gonna make it worse? Like,
Better than nothing, I guess.
interesting
But
choice.
I mean, so defibrillator works by stimulating muscles. So if it's got a heart, you should made of muscle. Hypothetically, a defibrillator would work on an alien, I would think, assuming that their muscles work in any way similar to ours. That'd be the
Yeah,
requirement.
yeah. So maybe
Like,
neutral, but
yeah, in
uh,
structure, not necessarily in like they don't need to be like red meat, white meat, kind of like
right.
they don't we don't need to get that specific with it. I think as long as electricity makes a muscle contract
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the heart is using to pump. If it's
Yeah.
not a muscle, if electricity causes contraction. Regardless, I'm done doing mental fucking gymnastics for you, Joe, in this episode. That's it. We hit the line.
Yeah.
No math for you today.
For whatever reason, it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
the doctor tells Gideon she just can't figure out why he died. Like, it's almost like he did it on purpose, the little bastard.
Right. How crazy. Dr. Chambers who gives Janie some shit. Like, well, you're going to have to do a full decontainment, including like a body cavity thing.
Yeah, that's clearly a punishment. I think Janie needs to go to HR.
Right. This is like some heavy kink shit. Like, this is some really weird workplace dynamic kink shit, and I am very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And we're all trapped on a ship together. Things are going to
Yeah.
get weird.
I mean, not because of the body cavity search, to be clear. It's improper power dynamics that make me uncomfortable. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yums.
Right, right. We're all about proper power dynamics here.
For sure.
Who Are You, Babylon 5 podcast?
100%. Yeah, proper power dynamics is important in any relationship.
So the language guy, whose name I also had a lot of trouble remembering, Max Eilerson, is lecturing his waiter about salt like an asshole.
Right. God.
What a dick.
He is a miserable excuse of a human being.
I feel like I say what a dick about this guy a lot.
Every episode. As you
Yeah.
should. Multiple times an episode. Unless he's siloed out of it.
Yeah, we might have had one that he was siloed out, but yeah.
Yeah, the Technomage episode. I don't think he
Okay.
was in that one.
Yeah. And we were all better for it. I don't even know what he was doing in that scene besides lecturing about salt.
Yeah, he's translating the language, and he comes to the conclusion that there are two separate languages.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
Interesting. Why would we need that? Janie goes and touches some guy and transmits and gives him a ghost.
Yeah, this is the worst game of tag ever.
Yeah. She gives him some kind of orders in an alien language and then keeps touching people back from commercial.
Right, like this is an HR nightmare.
The language guy sucks again, I wrote, so he must have done something else stupid.
So he figures it out, like he cracks the code for the language because the captain would say ship the most, right? Totally. That makes sense. And from there, he was able to figure out their entire language, which good for him.
Yeah, he's figured out that the spoken language and the written language on the ship, or the letters in the ship, like the consoles and stuff, have nothing in common.
Yeah, completely different languages. But he gets the captain's logs and almost gets murked. A security guard totally saves his life by like jumping in front of a bullet, basically, to let him get on the tram so he can call the captain, just to be all like, shit's fucked. Here's what's going on.
Oh, you missed the most important
Oh, did I?
point of this episode. Is at some point when all this is happening, Kevin decides he hates the uniforms and that they have to go.
Oh, yeah. for sure.
Yes, this is very important. Oh, and he wants to take away Gideon's pockets. So Gideon's going to know what it feels like to be a woman. Yay.
We cut up to the bridge where the captain and lieutenant use a space Roomba to check on some of the decks. Some are okay and some are not. And when they're using the floating camera on Deck 9, Wells is just like, oh, hey, we're ready to discuss terms, y'all.
Yeah, I really liked the hover Roomba. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I want one. I don't, actually. They're terrifying.
Have you seen the viral internet thing about the Roomba that ran into the dog diarrhea? Like, can you imagine if that Roomba was a hover Roomba?
I've kind of always wanted one because I thought they were cool, right? Mm-hmm. But I will tell you what, this episode airs after they get back, so I don't feel like I'm betraying anything here. The Curleys are out on a cruise right now. Benjamin from Last Time On and Gloria Ann from Cool Girls. And so I am going in house, like I'm checking on their plants, watering stuff, right? And when I was watering plants there the other day, their Roomba was on. One, I opened the door and I thought empty house and I heard something running and I'm just all like, the fuck is that? Right? Just like, I'm immediately in like, is someone in here? Like, what is going on? Because something is moving and operating around this house. And it's like, oh, it's the fucking Roomba.
What's hot, DJ Roomba?
Right? So, and then I'm like trying to like water the plants, and I swear to fuck that thing was following me. I'm like trying
Security
not
Roomba.
to step on their Roomba constantly.
Yeah, that's what it's like to have a Roomba.
I would have never gone from, oh, that'd be cool, to I never want one of these things in my fucking life so quickly.
The trick is to run it when you're not home, but then it'll get stuck somewhere and just beep. And it'll send an alert to your app to be like, I'm stuck somewhere. And you're like, well, I'm at fucking work. So, yeah. So Gideon decides he's going to go down there to talk to the sealed off deck and believes he won't get got for some reason.
They weld it shut over there. Like they take an airlock and just close that shit down.
Okay. I mean, I'm not convinced.
That's fair.
Wells tells Gideon all about how they don't have their own bodies and they just take over others. You know, they want to take over a world again. I guess they've taken over worlds before.
Yeah.
I don't know why you do this, though, like in perpetuity. Like, once you take over bodies on a world, can't you just like reproduce your own bodies? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
have
hanging by a thread.
I don't have good answers, and I'm not going to work for them.
Okay, but you know what? Kevin is all of us because he is just staring at Daniel Day Kim's cheekbones.
Yeah. We get a little bit of back and forth here on the bridge, and then Wells and Gideon talking. Gideon just like rattles off the JMS greatest hits list. Just like, who are you? What do you want? Where are we going? What's going on? All that shit real quick.
The Greatest Hits album contains the greatest collection of original hits ever offered.
So they're just like, drop us off on some planet, make us someone else's problem. Gideon isn't particularly interested in this.
No, he's too lawful. He's a lawful guy.
Yeah, but Kevin is like figuring it out, man. He's all like, why, like, they were all outstretched to the one dude, and they were all still touching. You didn't think that was kind of weird?
Yeah. See, we need Kevin. The show needs Kevin.
Problem solver.
So Gideon and Matheson ultimately strategize. They want to cut the aliens off and drop the temperature.
Yeah, the captain fucks with the thermostat, and Wells handles it as well as most middle-aged white dudes.
Yeah. Just calls him up and straight up shoots a guy.
Right.
Like, oh yeah?
Immediate violence.
Mm-hmm. They like touch him, and then his little alien spirit moves out, and then they just shoot the crew member. So they were thinking about that continuity. So he's going to start killing more if Gideon doesn't comply with his needs. But Gideon is going to pull a Janeway. He's ready to like go in himself and self-destruct the whole ship as a backup plan. What a great plan. Yeah, Gideon gets in his spacesuit because they can't get in through the suit because they gotta touch him. I guess
Yeah.
they can go through clothes, but not whatever shielding is in the suit.
Sure.
Xhafer's over it.
So over it. Yep. He tries to pass them a message by speaking in incorrect. What's the word I'm looking for here?
It's like a code. I mean, he's
metaphor.
Just... Mm-hmm.
Metaphor. Yeah.
There's that drop. Yeah, it's like he's purposefully fucking up his Temerian so that Max will get a message from that.
Yeah.
Because Max is a genius. We know that because he's a jerk. So
all geniuses are jerks.
Verifiable. But not all jerks are geniuses.
Ain't that the truth?
So he says, I think he says the air is human instead of to air is human.
Yeah.
I realize that those sound the same, but they are spelled different.
My subtitles helped a lot here.
Yeah.
They did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Truly.
They figured out they're going to cut the oxygen out to get everyone to kind of force their way around, I guess.
So why could we figure out, why did we, if we figured out we could cut off the air, why did we drop the temperature first? This seems like an unnecessary step. Go straight to cut off the air. Xhafer is yawning, everyone. It is late.
It is almost 11 o'clock here.
Yeah. This is not just a commentary on this episode of Crusade.
It is, though. It is, I promise. That and the 7% beer I'm drinking is starting to hit me a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I stopped looking for logic in this episode a while ago. I think the only reason you would do it like this is because you needed time to put the dead, not dead crewmen in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because that seems to be the crux of the solution pending here.
Yeah.
So they get a crewman in a spacesuit to survive, but it's the crewman who was permanently brain damaged hours ago.
Yeah. So the security guard that jumped in front of Eilerson died. He was killed.
They had him on life support. Yeah.
Yeah. And somehow he's the savior of us all because we put him in a spacesuit and they think that, we're going to hop into this one body and survive this decompression. But whoops.
Yep, they can't move. They just end up trapped.
Not functional. Not even good.
I have so many problems with this. At first, I was all like, they just went into a dead body on accident.
Nope.
Before I realized what had actually happened.
Not completely dead. Yeah, there's some ethical things there, I feel like. that are a problem.
This is not what would happen in a Star Trek episode.
Yeah. But to ramp up the drama just a tiny bit as they're spacing this deck, or this alien at least, or alien's presence, whatever. Yeah. They start screaming inside the body that they know what Gideon is looking for and they could help him find it.
Yep.
And too late. Bye.
Yep. Gets launched into space and then fucking blasted to hell.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? I'm curious. Do you think that's just the screamings of a desperate alien consciousness, or do you think they do kind of know about it and could help find it?
They're kind of hive-mindy. So, I mean, if you've spent a ton of time invading a ton of worlds, this might be something you've come across.
Yeah. And we meld together. We all know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been to a world where they solved for this problem and then you took it over instead. You know, checking in places where you should be, where there's people living.
Yeah. Yeah, Gideon.
Fuck. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really... It doesn't matter.
No,
it has no implication on the plot. Because they just get blown up.
It makes it seem like, Gideon is so good and pure that even though they offered him a reasonable deal, like, we'll leave your guys alone. You just drop us off somewhere. Like, just make us somebody else's problem. Gideon wouldn't take that. And what makes us wonder, like, if Gideon had known, would he have taken that? I don't know. I don't think he would have taken it, obviously, but
I think if it's something that you were going to offer in earnest, you would have offered it in earnest when you were trying to make the good faith deal the first time.
yeah, because it doesn't have like a cost to it. That's the thing. Is like if it was going to cost them something really to offer it up, like you should have offered it earlier.
Yeah, you could be like, take us to a planet, drop us off. By the way, we know where a cure for the Drak plague is, and we'll give you the coordinates of that world after we're safe and landed.
Yeah.
And then you find a shitty colony that no one cares about and drop them off, and you end the series in the next episode. Because if you're going to go through the moral exercise of what you do to this poor brain dead person who has no agency.
Yeah. Is it a lot different than what you would do to a unknown, unexplored colony? Yeah.
I mean, and you can at least warn the colony.
Yeah.
Be like, or drop them off, get the coordinates, just nuke the fucker from orbit.
Yeah.
Like, are we sure they're all off the ship? Yes. Super laser. You've got one.
Yeah, this is really horrifying about taking the brain dead body and using it this way. Like, I don't know that we 100% really know what a person is experiencing when they're in that sort of state. Like,
I mean, I'm an organ donor.
Uh-huh.
And if they were an organ donor, I feel like that's close enough.
That's not
to
different.
Volunteering for this.
Yeah.
That's not terribly different. But
I suppose
I don't know.
It could be like you're in the space military now. You're all organ donors.
Yeah. It's just so weird. It's just a weird choice to make, and I just hate it. Like, it's just this. It's like it kind of makes me rewatch the '90s Outer Limits show because
I remember that.
Because I feel like that show could have done something with this that was more thought-provoking than just making me feel bad.
Yeah. There's just so many things that are just like glossed over in this episode that really deserved more thought, because in Babylon 5, they got more thought most of the time. Not 100%, but most
of the time. I think that's the biggest issue with Crusade as a series so far.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
we're three episodes in. We nailed it.
Yeah, got it. We'll just wrap it up. We're going to take a couple months off. We'll be back in November with Battlestar Galactica. We did it, y'all. We fucking did it.
Mission accomplished.
Got it in 3, baby.
Speaking of things that are uncomfortable, Kevin presents the new uniforms, and I thought they looked hideous at this point. I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me, but I was like, ooh.
I saw these things and had one thought in my mind.
My grandfather's hammer, you shall be avenged. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell me
about
I'm wrong.
these.
They're just they look just like the Galaxy Quest. I don't know.
That
was
when
the
did
vibe.
that come out? Did we have some spare uniforms in addition to those Starship Troopers helmets? Like, we just need to repurpose some stuff? Like,
I would think I think Galaxy Quest came out in 99.
Mm-hmm.
So Crusade would have been right around then.
Yeah, we're just picking up their vibes.
Yeah. Grays are really in this year.
Yeah. Max goes to see the doctor and Max kind of had like a little turn in the episode after the security guard sacrificed his life for him.
Mm-hmm.
And, has been mopey about like, that guy saved my life. And I hope that he would have wanted his body used that way. And
right.
The doctor basically calls him out on being a giant narcissist, which I enjoyed.
Right. Yeah. He needs that. Being called
more
out
of
for being a
this.
giant narcissist. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're reminded that, yes, this whole thing is very sad that 2 people died, because we end the episode on Gideon dictating a letter to Greenberg's mom and Arkham's dad. I hope I'm reading my notes correctly. To the credits. Like, they get names here after they're very dead because they were expendable up until now.
Yep, and that's an episode. I gotta ask you, Laura, on a scale of 1 to 4 main guns firing, how do you feel about this episode?
Look, I know you seem to be pretty down on this episode, but I absolutely want more Kevin, and I'm giving this episode 3 of the main guns firing just because I want Kevin to show back up. I know he won't, but it would be so great if we just decided that we needed an onboard PR guy to make snappy jokes at Gideon all the time. Amazing.
No, I gave this episode a lot of shit. Part of that is because it's late and I'm cranky. Because I am just a grumpy old man sometimes.
Well, there's a lot to be cranky about in the world today.
But as far as like episodes of Crusade go, this feels like one of the better ones.
Yeah, I felt it felt pretty like we tried to hang it all together pretty well. You and I picked those seams apart, but that's our job, right? We're media critics.
Oh no.
I absolutely do not identify as a media critic. I just
Not
thought
at
it was
all.
funny. Well, you've gotten like media passes to shit and stuff, so I was like, guess we're legit, huh?
That's just because I don't want to pay for things.
I identify as a media critic when I want free.
I identify as a media critic to places that offer press badges, and solely them. No, this wasn't bad. I definitely put this at a strong, we'll say 3. I had written 2.5, but
okay.
Kevin is fun enough to boost this up to 3. I concur. 3 out of the 4 main guns firing for this episode.
Splendid. I hope the Crusade can keep it up.
We know it can't. Speaking of which, next episode, we're going to be skipping ahead to follow this perfect JMS order or whatever that we chose. We're going to watch episode 10, The Memory of War. Galen warns Gideon not to explore a planet where the inhabitants were suddenly eradicated.
Again, we're going and looking for the dead people. Yeah, seems weird.
We're looking for the dead people. I feel very like we've both already watched the next episode because we were planning on recording back to back before it got super late and I got a little buzzed. But we'll talk about it next episode.
Yes, it'll be fun. Until then, we have some thank yous to say. Xhafer, would you like to kick it off?
I will, of course. Thank you, Jeremy Siegel, for our absolutely fantastic theme music. Thank you so much for putting that together for us. We really appreciate it. You can find more of Jeremy's work at jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com, on streaming services as Nuclear Jaguar. And then he's also been playing in the Jacksonville area with a band called The Savants lately. So if you see a show with them and you're in that area, go see him. Support live music. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I bet he would be delighted as well.
Yeah.
And thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram for our podcast artwork.
Aaron, thanks so much for editing this podcast. I hope the drops I called for weren't too hard to find this time.
And thank you to you, the listener, for being here on the Crusade for Crusade.
We'll see you next week, Internet.
All right. Bye.